Hey everyone, Steven from Database Tycoon here, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you today about using AI with data and data pipelines. I think this is a big topic right now. Everyone's trying to come up with their own AI workflows, trying to figure out which AI tools best fit their stack, and just trying to understand in general, will AI be a part of my work going forward? I think there's a lot of ways to approach this. I've seen a lot of different articles online, videos, etc. But here's my hot take. I think that you have to start on the upstream part of the data stack if you want to use AI with your pipeline. I think that AI is very good at creating models. And when I say models, I don't just mean DBT models. I'm referring to just models in general. If it has information about an input, it can simulate that input somewhere else. So, in data, for example, you can give it a API doc from a source system, and you can give it the documentation for a system like DLT, for example, and it can read both and create a fairly good model of the DLT source using that API source document. What it can't do well is interpret results. It can't interpret results in the context of your organization without a lot of additional context. It can interpret results in a vacuum, in general, but it will have to make a lot of assumptions about things that you may not want it to make assumptions about. What if you have a fiscal year that doesn't track January to December? Unless you tell it that, it's not going to have any idea what your fiscal year is, so it'll have to assume, and it may very well assume wrong. So once you've reached that layer of the stack, you have to provide a lot of context about the questions you're asking in order to get accurate results. But on the upstream side of the stack, I don't think that's quite as true. I think you can provide a small amount of objective documentation, provided that documentation is accurate and reliable. Provide that to an LLM, and it can get a lot done that used to take quite a long time. I'm a data engineer myself, and I used to spend hours writing ingestion scripts and source models, things that were essentially fully deterministic, I'll put it that way, or at least 99%, where most of what I needed was already documented somewhere else. It just needed to be translated over into the syntax that this other tool could understand. And that's right in the wheelhouse of any LLM. So I would encourage you to review your own data pipeline. Think about ways you can improve that side of your stack and maybe start there. This is the time to build out all those extra source models. This is the time to document all your models in DBT. Certainly the time to consider DLT if you haven't already. It's never been easier to run and deploy that tool. And also write the code for that tool. Obviously, that's sort of the whole point of this, is to say that, LLMs have really figured out how to do models, as I mentioned earlier. So definitely give DLT a try if you haven't already. If you're trying out things with your data stack and AI, I'd love to hear about them. Please leave a comment on this video or just reach out to Database Tycoon directly. We're always happy to chat about this kind of stuff here. I think there's a lot of exciting stuff coming out, and I'm going to keep posting videos like this as I have more thoughts about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.